General Masemola took us through the process, the vetting process, and the difficulties that SAPS deals with in trying to obtain the security clearance. However, we have to put the question to you. Do you have security clearance?
The answer is no, I still do not have.
Could you perhaps tell this committee when was the last time you had security clearance and what is the status?
Honorable Chair and members, the crime intelligence, which is part of the problems that we hear, under the leadership of Major General Khan, manages vetting section. In the vetting section, when the security clearance are done, you have to disclose everything about you. Where were you born, where you grew up, the primary school you went to, your friends, family, relatives, bank accounts, and everything about you, assets you own and so forth. It is that office that controls things. On the record, Honorable Chair, the members, my last security clearance, top secret clearance that I had expired in 2018. It expired in 2018. In 2013, I submitted an application to State Security. State Security did everything, polygraph, everything, tick the box, but they could not issue that because there is Foster, who's an IP person in KZN, who said to SSA at the time that there's a case of, I'm told, a hit squad or something like that that happened in KZN in 2013 that I'm implicated in. I've never worked in KZN in 2013. I was working in Pretoria. So that's the reason why SSA did not issue another clearance at the time. And nobody came with a feedback. I made an application to crime intelligence. It's on record, this. In 2022. Today it's not finalized. Crime intelligence, according to the file that is with the divisional commissioner, is that they themselves are coming up with stories. One of the stories that Sunday World wrote a story about an allegations against a case investigated by IDEC against me. They apparently confirmed with Advocate Johnson, who wrote back on an email and said, yes, indeed, IDEC is investigating. The question again, how did IDEC get to investigate stories? How did they get, who referred that thing to them? Why am I not told about it? That's one. Two, there's a case allegedly that was open in Sinoville in Pretoria, where I was accused of interfering with the investigation. And the people accused, there is Patlane's wife, I don't know who's the third person. Again, nobody have ever come to me about it. This is 22, back then. Again, there's a case open, I think in Brooklyn and Pretoria, if I'm not mistaken, of a car hijacking. I'm the suspect. When they went to check, I was not even there when it happened. So these allegations of cases that they say they cannot finalize the clearance because of these pending. I'm told that the division have written to IP more than 3 times to ask them to explain these cases. So once there's something flagged, it's a reason not to give you a clearance certificate. So that's a deliberate thing done within there. And it does not affect me alone. There's many of us. It is that office that General Khan was controlling, is still controlling, that does vetting, that will make sure. That's why Paul O'Sullivan is going to know about it, being an outsider, that there is no clearance certificates because they are feeding him with that information.
Okay. Thank you, General. So, General, it looks like these cases are, this issue that you have is a historical issue. It dates back to 2022, and we are now in 2026. What is the status of that case, and is there possibly anything that you could do or anybody can do to assist you with finalization of those cases? Because surely it cannot be the reason why you still don't have security clearance.
I'm not in charge of the organization, but if I was in charge of the organization, I would have removed the whole lot that is sitting in that vetting section, starting with Khan, because they are the ones. The whole file of Jaro Pahlane that started that criminal investigation on the house was initiated from the files that were stolen by McBride's girlfriend from that office. So it's a dirty office. So we might want as parliamentarians to start asking yourself a question. How honest is the office of vetting in the police and many other entities? How honest that office is? Because the officials working there, you give them information, they verify, they interrogate you, they bring you for polygraphy, they throw you questions, and they satisfy themselves that you're a good person. They make recommendations. But when these things are supposed to be finalized, someone stalls it. They stole it because a Sunday World published something. They don't have to verify it. As long as they can't issue. And the right to IPID won't respond. So maybe IPID must then explain. For all these reminders, because from what I know I have no case. They just threw my name in it. So it looks like my name is just flagged. That's why even Nangi's case up there. I was part of the torture, I was part of, so they threw cases all over. That's how the system operates nowadays.
Thank you, General. The follow-up question to that is, if you don't have security clearance, are you then able to access the secret fund? That is at paragraph 73 of Mr. O'Sullivan's statement.
What does he say on the paragraph specifically?
He says that you are not permitted to access the secret fund without security clearance.
You know, Police
What is
is
your
an old
comment?
man. And I mean, as a Zulu man being cultured from the rural areas, it's not going to be a good thing to speak bad about an old person. He was fragile when I saw him sitting here. He's an old man. But the things that comes out of his mouth is problematic. Sarah's problematic. I'm prefacing the response to your question that how does he get to know about these things as a civil servant? That's a start. But number two, I do not work at crime intelligence. I don't get involved with secret fund at all, zero. In a matter of fact, when I was acting in 2011, 2012, the Joint Standing Committee of Intelligence only got to see me on passages. The first time I ever walked into the office here of the Joint Standing Committee of Intelligence, it's now after this whole saga of July 6th. Before that, I never interacted with them because it's not my role. It was never my role. I respected that the head of intelligence is the one that must account there. Head of intelligence is the one that must control the farms. Head of intelligence is the one who must run the operations of intelligence. I've never been involved with secret fund account. I've never done it. And I said to Jaro Kumalo, maybe inviting the committee, talking to your colleagues at JCI, because he speaks about a 30 million rand worth of vehicles that were bought, and he calls it luxury cars in 2012 when I was acting. Those vehicles are the sedan, small cars that were bought for operational members. The sedan, the luxury vehicles that he mistaken with are the luxury vehicles that I collected from people that were not supposed to be driving. Generals of the police, Q5s, the late Minister Mthethwa, the ML with a wheel at the back. A whole lot of those cars. I took all those, I gave it to Task Force and TRT because they were used. Luxury cars were bought, used by people that are not supposed. Then we took the money and we bought it for the operational members on the ground. So he's been fed information, but he interprets it wrongly.
Okay, thank you, General. Just still on the secret fund, for the basis of clarity, are you able to, you've testified that you're not in crime intelligence, but is it correct that one cannot access the secret fund if they don't have a clearance certificate?
I must repeat again, I don't work at crime intelligence, but I can give you the real fact of the situation that we have in the SAPS. A security clearance certificate is valid for 5 years and it expires. The rule that we currently have in the police is that the posts get advertised, you apply for the post, and you go for interviews, you complete that form for you to be vetted, you get appointed pending that vetting. In some instances, people start working without the vetting being finalized. In some instances, you don't work until your security clearance is issued. It depends where you're at. But after 5 years, even after you've received it, it expires. It means you must then, at least a year before, submit a new application. But because of the demand in the organization, over 100,000 members that must be vetted, the resources that crime intelligence has in terms of human resources that must conduct investigations on these applications is not enough. It's not sufficient. So that results to the expiry of this security clearance certificate. Mine expired in 2018. They cannot explain to you to date why I have not been issued with one, beside these cases. But just to process that administration process, it has taken that long because of the delays, the workload that they have. They can't keep up with it. It causes a delay. So once a person working at crime intelligence, like Gerald Khan, his vetting clearance certificates, as I'm talking to you now, have expired. But as I'm talking to you now, he's at crime intelligence. I like to believe he does have access to the secret fund account. And he's not the only one. There are many of them that their vetting have expired, but they do access. The how part, how they manage that, I'm sure JCI can explain it. I can't explain it because I'm not in that space.
Thank you very much, General. Now moving on to the last question from Mr. O'Sullivan's statement. There's an allegation that you recruited a number of young men in KZN through a man called Baba Mutetwa. That affidavit, that statement of one of the recruits has been made available to you for your consideration. In that state, it's a redacted statement, so we do not know the identity of the young man. All we know about him is that he's a young black man. He was recruited to be part of an operation that you were doing. Some of the allegations that he made was that he was taken to an unknown location to himself, where he was, they got some type of training over a 3-day period. He was paid on 2 occasions amounts of 50,000 Rand each. And finally, the third amount was 120,000 before doing any sort of work. Thirdly, they were then together with a group of other boys men that would have been recruited, were given police uniform, which on them do not have police rankings or identity of a police officer, but the uniform mirrored the police uniform. One of the operations that he says in his statement they had to do was in Umlazi, where unarmed it was a drug operation, unarmed young teenagers were killed. And they then had to leave, but before leaving, you arrived to come and assess the situation and plant evidence. What is your comment to that allegation made by Mr. O'Sullivan?
Honorable Chair and members, as I say again, Mr. Paul O'Sullivan is an elder, but is saying a lot of wrong things. I saw that redacted statement, and we then requested from the Provincial Commission to investigate whether was there ever a case open as such. The member that commissioned that statement gave her own statement to indicate, yes, there's a gentleman that came with Paul O'Sullivan and asked for the statement to be commissioned, which she did. And from there they left. So, but he cannot even remember the name of the person and stuff like that. That was, I don't know which day it was. He comes here and he presents this thing before you. He doesn't go to a police station to open a case, so he doesn't encourage this person to go and open a case on those allegations. What I did after that, I contacted with the station commander of Umlazi to confirm these multiple matters, because there's been a lot of shooting incident that has been happening in that police station over time. And the station commander said in that month of August, there was only one multiple murder that was registered in 2024 under the case number, and it does not correspond to the story that this Paul Sullivan and his unknown complainant saying. So I don't want sometimes to waste energy and argue and disown things that people are making allegations on and they cannot come and confirm. Let the person who opened the case go to the police station, open the case so it can be investigated. Alternatively, you must come to this committee and present the evidence. But as the head of the police in KwaZulu-Natal, police in KwaZulu-Natal have been involved in a lot of shootings. And many people have not been happy about that. And it's not one police officer, it's not one team, but all those that have been involved are police officers. So if this person says that he was not a police officer, he was recruited, they are making up the story to try and convince the committee to believe that there's bad things happening in KZN. Similar people that will sell stories to Meriti Haas, amongst others, then make them to believe certain things. That's why to date, you hear for any action, shooting, whatever, is PKTT.
Perhaps
Those are the stories.
I'm sorry, General. You can.
No, it's fine. I'm just saying that stories have been fabricated, so there's nothing of that sort in KZN.
Okay.
You can
Perhaps,
investigate.
perhaps what we should do is, leaving aside Mr. O'Sullivan and just asking the question slightly more directly. Are you involved in operations of this nature as alleged?
Not at all.
Did you make payments of 50,000, 250,000 batches plus 120,000 to various people who were doing operations?
That's wrong. I did not.
Okay. So you have no knowledge of this, even.
I don't have knowledge, and I like to believe that it doesn't exist.
Okay. If we can then maybe play the clip if it's ready.
Nah, yes, and I'm giving you my honest opinion, unfiltered. Ne?
Yeah.
Let him yabo. Ikijima ngentesi wrong.
Yeah.
Under the guise of this task team.
Nathi sikhona lapha siyaphandwa lapha siyaphenywa lapha.
Yeah, what general. And ngiyacabanga ukuthi eNatali, I'm sure we're busy because this is where these things are cooked. What I find embarrassing, and when I talk to people, sometimes you are complicit to crime being committed.
Yeah.
Which have been complicit because ne le mfana beka constable nini ngise HRD ngoba warrant ngoba captain se ga colonel but uhamba la khamba khona uLucky.
Oh, uLucky ulomuphi?
uLucky Mkhwanazi.
Oh.
So at some point there was into ngathi bayarelate baze bayafana futhi ngathi they relate.
Oh, fana noMkhwanazi.
Yeah, kakhulu futhi. So
and uyena lo suspect ukuthi uthathe imali.
Hayi ukuthi suspector uye lo NPA etuthatha imali but
ngithumela uShabalala.
Manje into engayi understand ne ukuthi abokhumalo like bakhuluma ngathi benza into eziright like mina bese mina kuthi generally ngafunda ukuthi uba isilima kuyanceda yabona ngoba mawusuka ubabonisa ukuthi uyabona kula wenza khona izitha so rather abacabanga ukuthi uhleli la abacabanga ukuthi uhleli khona but it's the same young Khumalo uyo busy. I asked him the other day ngimbonise ngathi ufuna nona bathi kimi ukuthathe ngathi ungacishe ngawo cishe ngathi hawu so uMkhwanazi ukuthumele ngala
ugijima ngami lo
so uthunyiwe because trust me at some point he was his driver ne mara ukuthi nje yela ungambona ufana noLucky at some point I can't remember wathi no ngathi bayahlobana yabona. So I understand ukuthi le team wayengakhona ukuba sorry but it is because khona udoti nje abawuphushayo that I can tell you because yini into enzima that's why ngithi la tomorrow sibize ukuthi ama docket if I say court, there's no need for it to if case your court, niyabizwa niyasapuna nina witnesses, you understand? Niya on that day. Hayi ukuthi kumele lihlale ngathi nilinde.
I think ukhonsult no like wathi no amadoketo amalethela kimi.
But akakwazi. Angisho kune instruction general.
Ukuthi aye kuwe.
Yes.
Yebo.
So which is why ngithi mina yabona ukuthi without ukuthi siveze ukuthi mina ngime kuphi asiyenza ofta ukona usibize nje uthi hayi na instruction General Senthumule give me feedback yebo.
Yeah, ngizombiza but angithi uzongitshela nje akunikeza iexcuse ukuthi akekho local or ukuphi angithi ubonile ukuthi yena siya attend wonke umuntu uyattenda yena akaveli yena
ufonile nje ubala shama documents ngathi mina sonke base size khona John ukuba wathi yena hayi uke uhlale office ngathi mina ekumnandi kuba ngoba wena uvunyelwe yabona.
Yena ubusy yazi ngokutshela babusy bagijima ngame left right and center hot monitoring bazama amafoni wami ngapha nangapha ngiyathola konke lokho yabo.
But into ebuhlungu general ne ukuthi umgodi mina ngafunda ukuthi umgodi mawugubha akungeni lo mgubhela ngena wena.
Iproblem ukuthi ngihlala nomphathi wami ongathi akazi lutho kodwa uyazokungiya. Ngicela ukuphendula lokho lengenayo tu.
Okay general. Mina tekele sharp general.
General, just for the sake of the record, who are the persons that are speaking on that clip?
It's General Senthumule and General Sibiya.
If you can just summarize perhaps what is the content, the basis of their conversation?
The base of the conversation is regarding the case dockets and the investigation that the team is doing in KZN, which is PKTT, and the fact that Senthumule is in support of these dockets being moved away from KZN. He's even encouraging General Sibiya to invite both her and Kumalo to the college to come and account. So she seems to be the master of why these dockets came to her, according to the conversation they're having.
Lieutenant General Senthumule came before this committee and she testified that she did not even know how the dockets arrived in Gauteng, and she did not even see them. Now, I'd like to take you to specific parts of her affidavit, just in light of what we have heard on the clip. General Senthumule was responsible for the disbandment plan that related to the dockets. And part of the plan was that the dockets had to be transferred from KZN to Gauteng. She was questioned by this committee